Welcome to the channel, your go-to source for MMA news, breakdowns, and fight analysis. Let's get straight into it. Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria have been far from friendly in the past. Their history is filled with verbal jabs and social media insults, making them one of the most talked about potential matchups in the UFC. However, at the UFC London weigh-ins, fans were caught off guard when the two fighters shared a fist bump and a laugh. Pimblett later addressed the moment, explaining that Topuria had initially waved at him from across the stage. As Pimblett walked past, the two instinctively reacted, leading to an unexpected and somewhat awkward high-five moment. Pimblett admitted that while they might not be friends, the situation was humorous, and sometimes, even rivals can share a laugh. With Topuria moving up to lightweight, a fight between them seems more possible than ever. But the big question remains, do these two actually dislike each other as much as they claim? Or is it all just pre-fight hype? The highly anticipated welterweight clash between Prates and Geoff Neal was expected to deliver fireworks at UFC 314, but in a sudden turn of events, Neal was forced to withdraw due to an undisclosed injury. Rather than scrambling for a short-notice replacement, Dana White and the UFC opted to cancel the fight entirely, leaving Prates without an opponent and fans disappointed. However, the story might not end there. UFC commentator John Anik has hinted that big news is coming for Prates, sparking speculation about what could be next for the Brazilian knockout artist. Will he get a rebooked fight against Neal, or will the UFC match him up with another top welterweight contender? The possibilities are wide open. Meanwhile, UFC 314 could be facing even more shakeups. Jiri Prochazka versus Jamal Hill, a major light heavyweight showdown, is now surrounded by uncertainty due to rumors of an injury to Hill. If the fight falls through, the UFC might need to find a last-minute replacement, and some fans are already throwing Derek Lewis' name into the mix as a potential savior for the main event. With multiple fights hanging in the balance, all eyes are on Dana White and the UFC matchmakers to see how they handle these last-minute changes. Will UFC 314 stay intact, or are we about to witness a major shakeup in the card? Fans won't have to wait long to find out. Ilia Topuria has been making waves with his callouts, recently claiming that lightweight elites like Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira are scared to fight him. But former champion and UFC analyst Daniel Cormier isn't buying it. On his YouTube channel, Cormier dismissed Topuria's claims, stating that fighters like Makhachev, Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Michael Chandler are warriors who don't fear anyone. According to DC, fear is simply not a factor at this level. While Topuria has been dominant, he has yet to face the top contenders at lightweight. If he wants to prove himself, he'll have to do it in the octagon rather than through bold statements. Henry Cejudo has been pushing for a rematch against Song Yadong after their controversial fight, but Dana White doesn't seem interested. Now, Cejudo believes White is still holding a grudge over his 2020 retirement. Cejudo retired as the bantamweight champion, but returned years later, only to lose in his comeback fight. Since then, White has been reluctant to book him in another major fight. Cejudo insists he has no bad blood with White and just want a fair shot. But does the UFC president still have resentment over Cejudo walking away at the peak of his career? Sean Brady is on a mission, and he isn't holding back. The rising welterweight star recently took aim at former champions Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington, criticizing both fighters while making it clear he believes he's already better than them. Brady pointed out that Usman has lost twice to Leon Edwards, while he himself just dominated Edwards in a decisive submission victory. He also mocked Covington, calling him overrated and questioning how someone who hasn't won a fight since 2022 still has a ranking in the division. With Usman ranked number 4 and Covington sliding down to number 9, Brady believes a shot at the title is inevitable. But will the UFC book him against one of these former champions first? That remains to be seen. It's one thing to see fighters clash inside the octagon, but what about their coaches? That's exactly what happened at UFC Mexico City after Jamel Emmers knocked out Gabriel Miranda in the first round with a flying knee followed by a right hand. Instead of celebrating, his coaching team found themselves in an intense altercation. Footage from a UFC broadcast showed Emmers striking coach Chris Cully, shouting in the face of head coach Jacob Benny, even jabbing a finger at him aggressively. Benny responded by grabbing Cully's wrists in an attempt to defuse the situation, while UFC lightweight Chris Padilla stepped in to calm things down. No official explanation has been given for the dispute, but speculation is growing that there has been long-standing tension between the two. When your fighter secures a huge victory, it's usually a moment of unity, but for Team Emmers, it was anything but. Ilia Topuria has never been one to hold back, and his recent comments about Charles Oliveira's fight record have sparked a heated exchange between the two fighters. After Topuria pointed out some hard stats about Oliveira's losses, the former lightweight champion fired back, calling his remarks disrespectful. But Topuria isn't backing down. In response, Topuria made it clear that he wasn't trying to insult Oliveira. He was just stating the facts. He pointed out that Oliveira has suffered 10 career losses, with 5 by knockout and 4 by submission, questioning why people consider lightweight the toughest division when Oliveira had previously struggled at featherweight. Topuria specifically referenced Cub Swanson's dominant win over Oliveira, suggesting that Oliveira's past defeats raise questions about his status among the lightweight elite. Beyond his war of words with Oliveira, Topuria also dropped a major bombshell. He claims the UFC promised him a title shot, which is why he officially vacated his featherweight belt. If his statement is true, this could mean that a showdown with Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title is on the horizon. But with the UFC's unpredictability, will they actually keep their word? Fans will have to wait and see if Topuria gets the championship opportunity he believes he's earned. Bruce Buffer is a legend in the UFC, known for his powerful voice and flawless fight announcements. However, even the greats can have an off night, and Buffer had one of his worst slip-ups at UFC Mexico. After Jamal Emmer secured a first-round KO over Gabriel Miranda, Buffer shocked everyone by announcing Miranda as the winner. The mistake caused confusion before it was quickly corrected, but the internet wasted no time roasting the legendary announcer. Social media erupted with reactions, with some fans joking that their live streams must have lagged, while others simply couldn't believe what they heard. While it was an embarrassing moment, Buffer has called thousands of fights over the years, so a single mistake is bound to happen. But still, this was a tough one to live down. Merab Dvalishvili is known for his relentless pace inside the octagon, but he's also built a reputation for entertaining fans outside of it. Whether it's jumping into frozen lakes or pulling off wild stunts, the UFC bantamweight contender never shies away from having fun. However, his latest antics might not sit well with Dana White and the UFC brass. A recent video circulating online shows Merab engaging in an impromptu wrestling match with a fan on the beach. What made it even more surprising was that the fan appeared to be significantly larger than him, yet Merab effortlessly tossed him around in the sand. While it was clearly a lighthearted moment, it has raised some concerns within the MMA community. With his highly anticipated rematch against Sean O'Malley set for UFC 316, many are questioning whether engaging in unsanctioned grappling is worth the risk. One awkward landing or unexpected injury could jeopardize his title shot, and that's something the UFC would likely want to avoid. While Merab's warrior spirit and love for competition are admirable, Dana White may not be too pleased to see one of his top contenders taking unnecessary chances outside of official fight camps. Just hours before UFC Mexico City was set to kick off, Joe Pyfer was forced to withdraw from his highly anticipated fight against Kelvin Gastelum due to a sudden and severe illness. The rising middleweight later revealed that he had been suffering from extreme nausea, excruciating stomach pain, fever, and relentless bouts of vomiting and diarrhea, making it physically impossible for him to compete. Pyfer speculated that the illness was either caused by food poisoning or altitude sickness, despite taking every precaution to stay healthy while in Mexico. Frustrated by the unfortunate turn of events, he didn't hold back in expressing his disappointment, stating outright that he would never fight in Mexico again. Fans were understandably disappointed by the last-minute cancellation, as the bout had been shaping up to be an exciting showdown. However, fighter safety always takes priority in situations like this. Hopefully, the UFC will find a way to reschedule this fight soon, so that both Pyfer and Gastelum get their chance to step into the octagon and settle things properly. What do you guys think about it all? Let us know below. If you like this video, then you may like what YouTube is suggesting right now. Stay tuned for more MMA breakdowns, fight analysis, and latest MMA news, and don't forget to like and subscribe.